Like I said, I've been a superstar. And I got paid for what I knew. And I shared the game with them. So much guidance. That's what I did. They paid for knowledge.
Salutations, family, and welcome back to Ride Along with the Storm. While doing a little studying earlier this week, family, and doing a little research, I came across a riveting theory, and it's called the paradox of generosity. And in the paradox of generosity, it basically states that desire is not fair. Desire is the result of the universal law of polarity. And just like in magnets, the attraction of a magnet weakens when the pole weakens. And basically, to summarize that, it basically states that when you overextend yourself or you're too generous to a fault to individuals, especially individuals who exhibit narcissistic traits, that these people will lose attraction to you. And we've all experienced this before. Oftentimes when you deal with people with narcissistic traits, these people are takers. They're looking for people with generous spirits. They're looking to take advantage of people. They're looking to exploit people. And when you look at it, family, when you run into these people and you have interactions with these people are predatory in relationships. And these people are looking for people that they can enter into relationship dynamics where they can take the superior position in the relationship dynamic and have the other person subordinated to them in the relationship. And oftentimes when you see this, family, it's a very toxic situation where the one person that's in the subordinate position in the relationship they're used up, they're exploited, and then they're discarded whenever the person in the superior position in the relationship find that they're of no more use, or it's not advantageous to them anymore to engage with this person because they can no longer use this person. And that's why a lot of times, family, when you do the work and you repair your positive self-image and you raise your self-esteem, a lot of times you run off narcissistic people. You make these people flee from you and not want to be a part of your life because they see that they cannot take advantage of you, they cannot use you, and they cannot exploit you. In relationships, when you find yourself overextending yourself and being too generous or being generous to a fault, what you do is you open yourself up to being taken advantage of. And when you surrender your autonomy in a relationship, you actually put yourself in a subordinate position within the power dynamic of relationships. And oftentimes, family, you see these people, these narcissistic people have a radar, or almost a sixth sense, to identify people who have a problem with overextending themselves and taking the subordinate position in a relationship of being too generous. Being too generous is a classic case of what we call being a simp. It's when you put another person's needs above yourself. And many people are guilty of this. I've been guilty of this in the past myself. You enter into a relationship, you want to be loving, you want to be caring, you want to be nurturing, you want to show that other person immense amounts of affection, but sometimes you overextend yourself. You end up surrendering your own autonomy in the relationship dynamic and taking a subordinate place in the relationship dynamic. And the next thing you know, you give and give and give so much of yourself, family, that you end up losing yourself into the relationship. And I know many people have experienced this to where it's goes to a point where after a relationship you've been so drained and you've extended yourself so much that you have to go through a healing period where you actually have to rediscover your own autonomy. You have to rediscover yourself. You have to build up your self-esteem and your positive self-image to replace yourself in being a healthy and fruitful mind state. When you look at it, family, you never want to be in a situation where you're being overly generous or generous to a fault, and actually surrendering your autonomy up in order to engage in a relationship, any kind of relationship, whether it be a familial relationship, an amorous relationship, or it be a platonic friendship. You should never be overextending yourself in order to be in a relationship with another individual. There should be reciprocity in a relationship where there's a give and take, and both of you mutually show affection and nurturing to one another. You two should be evenly yoked, and you should be able to express your emotions simultaneously amongst the pair or amongst your peer group in order to gain a fruitful and a healthy relationship, family. I want to thank y'all, family, for joining me here on this episode of Ride Along with the Storm. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join me here for every episode of Ride Along with the Storm. Thank you, family. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.